Let's talk about a city that honestly shouldn't exist. Not where it is, not at its scale. A massive, sprawling megacity that was built against all odds. We're diving into the story of Lima.
You know, this one sentence really just gets right to the heart of it all. So, why wasn't it? What happened to create this enormous city in a place so completely unsuited for it? And when we say enormous, we mean it. We're talking over 10 million people. Think about that for a second. That's more than the entire population of a country like Sweden, all crammed into one urban area.
And here's the real kicker. All those millions of people are living in a coastal desert that gets almost zero rain. And that right there is the central puzzle of Lima, a true megacity that's built on a foundation of scarcity.
So, how does a city like this even happen? Well, the answer is kind of baked into its foundations. From day one, its destiny was shaped by the very things it didn't have.
I mean, just look at the geography. It's literally squeezed between the Pacific Ocean and the massive Andes Mountains, on a strip of desert. All of its fresh water has to come from these little rivers trickling down from the mountains. And these aren't some mighty, raging rivers. They're incredibly fragile lifelines for millions and millions of people.
So Lima didn't get huge because it was a great place to build a city. Nope. It grew because the Spanish colonial powers decided to concentrate all their political and economic power right here. And from the very beginning, that created a system where a few people controlled the resources. So scarcity wasn't some accident, it was basically part of the city's original design.
Okay, so you've got this city built on a really shaky foundation. And then a population bomb goes off. An explosion of growth that nobody, and I mean nobody, had a plan for.
Through the 20th century, people started flooding into Lima from all over rural Peru. They were trying to escape everything you can imagine: crushing poverty, political instability, even violent conflict. And they were arriving way, way faster than the city could ever build houses or pipes or roads for them.
This is such a great way to put it. The city didn't grow based on some neat architect's blueprint. It just absorbed necessity. People were driven by the basic need for a place to live, a place to survive. So they built their own homes, their own neighborhoods, on whatever piece of land they could find, up the sides of barren hills, on the dusty edges of the desert. That's how modern Lima was born.
Now, to really get how Lima works day to day, you have to understand this one key idea: informality. And look, this isn't about chaos or lawlessness. It's the opposite, really. It's the complex set of systems and rules that people create for themselves when the official, formal systems just aren't there for them.
So for example, the official city plan might call for water pipes to every home, but the informal reality for millions is waiting for a water truck that you have to pay a premium for. Instead of a planned public bus system, you've got this wild, sprawling network of privately owned vans and buses. This isn't some small, fringe part of Lima. For huge numbers of people, this informal reality is the city.
But this kind of growth, this survival mode, it comes with a huge price tag. And that price is a deep, stark inequality that you can literally see carved into the landscape.
Seriously, nothing shows the city's divide better than this. The amount of water used in a wealthy, formal neighborhood is just astronomically higher than in one of the newer, informal neighborhoods on the outskirts. We're talking about some people having swimming pools, while others have to carefully ration every drop just to cook and drink.
And that just reveals the fundamental truth of this place. In a city that's defined by its dryness, having access to water isn't just a nice-to-have. It's everything. It determines your health, your ability to earn a living, your social status. It is quite literally power.
This inequality bleeds into the economy, too. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lima is the economic engine of Peru, but it's like a dual engine. You have the formal world of banks and corporations, and running right alongside it is this massive informal economy. People are incredibly productive, everyone is hustling, but that work is often precarious. There's no contract, no benefits, no safety net.
So, with all of this, the scarcity, the inequality, the precariousness, how in the world does a city like this hold together? Well, the secret isn't in its infrastructure. It's in its people.
In all the places where the official systems failed, people have stepped up. The real stability comes from social networks, from family, from incredible community organization. These are the people who band together to negotiate with water trucks, who literally build staircases up steep hillsides with their own hands to connect their homes, who create their own local safety patrols. In Lima, community isn't a bonus feature. It is the most essential infrastructure there is.
But, and this is a really important point, We can't romanticize this resilience. It is born out of pure necessity. It's an amazing example of human adaptation, for sure, but it's an adaptation to a system that has failed them. People are resourceful and strong because they have absolutely no other choice.
And that brings us to the biggest question for Lima's future. You can't just tear it down and start over. So can the city somehow work backwards? Can it retrofit equality into a landscape that was built on its opposite? When you boil it all down, the future for those 10 million people really comes down to one thing. Can this city finally figure out a way to manage its scarcity of water, of housing, of security, in a way that's more fair for everyone?
Because in the end, Lima's story is so much bigger than just one city. It's a powerful lesson for a future where resources might be limited for a lot more of us. It shows you what happens, how people adapt, how communities survive when scarcity isn't just a temporary problem, but a permanent fact of life.